Hello, hello. How are you doing? Are you okay? It's great to see you. It's great to be here, or to be seen by you. It's great to be here. I like that bit at the start. It gives me just a sort of second to get things up and running before I start talking to you. Apologies if it looks a bit boring just for the first couple of minutes. Excuse me. That is there to work. Right, I've tried something completely new today, and I'm intrigued to see whether this is going to work. Now, normally, that's why I'm clicking on other things whilst I'm talking to you. Now, normally, as you may know, I do a mailing list newsletter once a week, as well as these, which I do sort of sporadically once a week or so. But what I've thought about doing is coinciding them both, because I reckon there's loads of people on my mailing list who don't realize that I do this. And I've put the link on there, but it's not live at that time. So I've tried to schedule a newsletter to go out now or about this time, and we'll see if it works. When it just basically says there's a link here, I'm live now, see what happens. It could go disastrously, because it might not get through the system quick enough or whatever, and someone will get it in, an hour's time, and it won't make any sense. Although you can still watch it in an hour's time, can't you? It doesn't really matter. But we'll see how we go. I'm sort of checking my emails in the background to see if it works, if it comes through, because I'm obviously on the mailing list, and we'll see if that happens. It hasn't yet. Fingers crossed. We'll see. How are you anyway? Are you well? Thank you for joining me again for another YouTube, Facebook, Twitter live chat, I suppose. And I've got another beer, and I'm going to crack it open now. I thought about opening it earlier, about 10 minutes ago, but I wanted to share this noise with you. I wanted to share the noise with you in the celebration of having a beer on a Wednesday night, which I really, really like. Are you having a drink at the moment? Are you having a cup of tea or a pint yourself? Let me know in the comments. That is I have to say, the one last week I really enjoyed. I think because I hadn't done them in a while. I always enjoy them, but I think because I hadn't done it in a while, we had a real nice group of people on the comments, and I really enjoyed sort of chatting to you. That's really rubbish pour, isn't it? Look at that. That's awful. So say hello is what I'm saying. Say hello to me in the comments. That would be amazing. I'd really appreciate that. All right. I'm going to have to let that settle for a week. It's a beautiful beer though. All right, let me just check and see if this email's come through, if it worked. I think there's something suspicious about this. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I really hope it does. Oh, processing 42%. Oh, right, it's gone. It's working. The email has gone out. Whether it makes any difference, whether anyone sees it bleep on their phone and goes, "Oh, he's live right now," bloop, or go, or whether anyone thinks unsubscribe or just ignore, we will see. If you've just joined it because you've seen the email come in, amazing. Thanks for being here. Let's have a look and see who is in the comments already. John, good evening, mate. How was your shift last week? I felt a bit. I know you were just running off for a night shift, weren't you? After we spoke last week. Allison, how are you? Are you well? Are you keeping well? Allison says she's just gone 5. She's pouring a glass of wine. Fantastic. White or red or rosé, I suppose, is in between the two. Coffee for John. Last night of the week working. So do you have a couple of days off now then? This is like your weekend, Thursday, Friday or something like that. And you work right through to the morning. Gosh, it must be a tough one to do. I do have to say though, on another note, as you'll know, or as you may know, I'm in Riga in Latvia at the moment. I'm going home at the end of the week. Well, over the weekend. I'll be back in Nottingham this time next week. And I just have to raise my glass because it is Latvian Independence Day today, which I didn't realise until today. I walked through the city and they had lots of music on, lights on. There's been fireworks going off outside in the last hour. So if you're Latvian and you're listening, congratulations, happy Latvian Independence Day. Amazing. What a good thing to celebrate. So cheers. Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, I look forward to you raising a pint, raising a beer, raising whatever is your drink of relaxational choice tomorrow night. Oh, Alison's having some white wine and a tuna steak for dinner. Oh, lovely. That sounds beautiful. That sounds beautiful. And John's been for a 5K run. Oh my gosh, that's a long way, isn't it? Particularly when it's dark outside. Right. So I'm interested, as I say, to see how quickly these emails come through and if they work. Let's have a see. We'll get on and see what we're going to do and see if anyone jumps in. All right. So today I'm going to ask you the question as I normally do. Oh, Alison, you've got the email. Fantastic. Hi, Ian Bond. How are you doing? Good to see you again. This is the question we're going to discuss today, because I thought it was interesting. I sort of posited this on my, I think it was on Facebook or somewhere like that. Would you like me to invite other authors into this chat with me? Because I know people do this already. And in fact, I'm on Ernest Dempsey's chat on Friday, which is exciting. He does a similar thing. And I know authors do that, and they invite people in and you have a conversation and a chat. And that is good and it's fun and it would be nice. I wouldn't mind doing it, but is that something you'd be interested in listening to? Bearing in mind, once you get two people together, it tends to go on a bit longer, doesn't it? We'll probably talk for an hour or 45 minutes or something, not just a 20-minute natter with me having a beer. Is that something you'd be interested in listening to? Is that something you'd be interested in watching? Let me know in the comments. I'll read through them a bit later on in this live thing. I'm never sure also what to call this, because I know I've called it Live at 5 or 5 Live, but 5 Live is a radio station in the UK. So I don't really want to call it that. It's like a sports chat radio station. And I don't, it's not like this at all. I wonder whether to make like a little name for it, like a little logo and whatever, or, just me having a ramble at 5 o'clock some Wednesdays. Right. This is the thing that's exciting me at the moment. This book, New York, is the next one of my Leo and Allissa adventures to be joining you. I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really pleased with how it's gone. It's been a real work in progress for a long time, about 2 years. 2018, I went to New York, and that's when the idea sort of came to me in August of 2018. So it's been going a long time. I will share with you a chapter from that in a minute. I want to remind you of the pre-orders. Thank you if you've done it already. There's the link that you need to go to. In fact, I'm going to read the blurb of it for you right now. Then we'll do the review of the week, which is always exciting. Right, New York. A serial killer stalks the streets. The city lives in fear. The winter of terror is here. Excuse me, gassy beer. Heading to New York for a much needed holiday, Andy and Emma hope some quality time will put their relationship back on track. But when Andy wrecks his car in the Lincoln Tunnel and then disappears, it's clear the city that never sleeps has other plans. Teaming up with New York PI, Nikki Zadid, Leo and Allissa search the city. But this isn't just another case. Emma's Leo's sister. He knew they were having problems and should have done more to help. When their investigation entangles with the plans of an unhinged killer, things become more complex and dangerous than any had imagined. The trio must navigate the city from elite hangouts to dingy back streets without falling foul of a murderer with the sickening endgame in mind. New York is Luke Richardson's 5th fiery international thriller. Grab your copy to continue this series today. Oh, I like it. So that will be out in the next few weeks, hopefully not too long already. Alison says she's pre-ordered. Thank you so much for that. And we'll go through the comments of what you think, whether you think I should be inviting some more people onto this chat with me in a bit. We'll go through those shortly and we'll see what your thoughts are. So I'm really liking these Latvian beers though. This one especially, I've been drinking like an amber, may have had the same one last week, like an amber sort of lager. 80 cents this was in the shop. 80 cents, that seems miraculously cheap, doesn't it, for a pint of beer in a shop. But yeah, there we go. Cheers. Happy Independence Day to all Latvian people. Okay, reviews. I haven't picked a review that is new this week. I've picked one that I really like. And Allison, who is on the chat at the moment, she's talking in the comments. It's yours. So thank you for leaving it. I'm going to read it out in a minute. If you've left reviews of my books already, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Remember, they're not just on Amazon. They're on Kobo and Barnes & Noble and all these other platforms. And if you go to the link, even if you haven't bought the book from there, even if you're not, you're not active on that platform, I'd massively appreciate jumping on and just leaving 5 stars and a couple of words. Just copy the review that you put on Amazon if that's the way you want to do it. That would mean so much to me, because I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because I've chosen to publish my books on various platforms. Obviously, if you leave a review on one platform, which is amazing, viewers on the other ones don't see that. And that was my choice. That's a small price to pay for having my books available everywhere, to be honest. But if you would be able to copy those over, do me an absolutely massive favor, that would be amazing. I'd really appreciate that. Alison says, how many of these beers can I bring home in my suitcase? I did think about whether I could put them all in a box and post them home, was my thoughts. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to drag them through the airport. That didn't sound like fun at all. But I wondered whether I could sort of box them all up and send them back. Then I thought it just sounded like too much effort to do that. I can't wait to, Ian says, is it called It's Tourette's? I think it's called lac plesis. I suppose you can't really see it because it's written around the curvature of the can. But there we are, lac plesis. Yes. John, I hope you're going to enjoy New York. I'm really, really pleased with it. Right, review. Here we go. So thank you for this one, Alison. It was of Berlin. Alison says, just finished reading Berlin by Luke Richardson, the third in the Leo Keane series. What a page turner. When Leo and Allissa come home from Hong Kong after their last investigation, all they wanted to do was relax and for Allissa to go to her sister's birthday party. Allissa hasn't seen her half-sister or brother for a couple of years since their father was sent to prison, and she was looking forward to connecting with them again. They haven't even unpacked when the doorbell rings and it's Charles Rolleston, a new client looking for his missing brother Minty, who lives in Berlin. Charles gets them to listen to the last voice message he sent at 4 a.m. on Sunday in the underground station in Berlin, saying that he was wrong and that he shouldn't believe anything. Leo goes to Berlin alone, and trying to control his own anxiety, wants to prove himself that he can do this without Allissa. What he finds in Berlin and Minty's life takes him to a techno nightclub and the wrong side of the Russian mob. He also believes that Minty is still alive, but where? Can he find Minty before the mob catches up with him? That sounds almost better than my book description, my blurb I wrote there, Alison. I absolutely love it. I have to say, of all the names, of all the characters that I've got, I absolutely love Minty Rolleston. What a cool character. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's this fashion designer, real funky guy, long hair, crazy clothes. Minty Rolleston's his name. Yeah, I think he's a brilliant character. Absolutely do. So hello, if you've just joined us, I am Luke, and I'm talking about my new book, New York, and various other things. Here's the book. Let me know what you're doing, what you're up to in the comments of the chat. It's always nice to connect. If you followed the link from the email that I've just sent, let me know, because I sent that out and I'm interested about whether it's worked. Because I've combined sort of my newsletter and my live thing into one, and I'm wondering whether it's worked, whether it's worth doing. So let me know. Hey, Perry's on the chat. Hi Perry, how are we doing? He asks, what music is playing in the club? I assume you think in Berlin. Perry, you need to read that book because you'll love it. There's a brilliant scene where Leo goes to the club, and I know Perry's read Kathmandu, so he knows Leo, or knows the character, and it's quite unlike him to go clubbing. and it's real bassy techno. It's a guy called Luke Science who he goes to see in the club, and it's real heavy techno that they're playing, and for him it's a real eye-opening experience at this club in Berlin. So here we are, Perry. I'll lend you a copy. Steve Moore's in the chat. Hello, mate. How are you? Are you well? And Ian says, imagine having long hair, Luke. Look at it. I think he's pointing out that I've let my hair grow for the 3 weeks I've been here because it's because I left my hair clippers at home. Or he could be pointing out that when Ian and I were at university, we both had bonkers long haircuts. Photos are available, although I don't intend to share them at any point, at least today. It's an embarrassing time, but a great time as well. So yeah, thank you for those reviews. I always appreciate that. And don't watch this silently. Pop yourself in the comments, say hello, even if you are watching this afterwards. Even if you're watching this after the event, please do that. Okay, right. In a bit, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite chapters from New York. I've shared 3 sections of it now. I'm running out of sections that I can share without ruining the story, actually. So I may have to go back to sharing one that I've already shared next time, or not reading from the book at all. But I'm going to do one more today, and Ian describes our mutual ridiculous haircuts as in university haircuts. I think you're allowed a stupid haircut at university, aren't you? As embarrassing but fantastic. I think that's a great way to explain it, actually. So I'm going to read a chapter from that in a minute. It's again one of my favorite chapters because we meet a new character who I absolutely loved writing about. Absolutely love this character. In fact, you've met them before at one point in a different chapter I've shared, I think. Right. I'm going to talk to you about my novella called Koh Tao. And if you've read it, fantastic. That's amazing. If you haven't, this is my gift to you. It's now available for free via that link, lukerichardson.com/Koh Tao. Now you have to join my mailing list to get that for free, but if you're already on there, add your email address again. It won't add you twice. It won't accept. Do you know what I mean? It won't accept your new email address. So don't worry about getting all my emails twice because you don't want them twice. You know, I mean, I like reading my own stuff, but I wouldn't read an email from myself twice. So there you go. I always get that wrong. So there you go. There's the link. Make sure you get that and get that downloaded. So it's on your device in case. I don't think it'll be free forever is what I'm saying. So get that now. Also, if you know someone who likes thrillers set in exciting places, there we are. Pass that on. You'll be doing me a favor and you'll be doing them a favor as well. I'm going to share the book description, the blurb with you, and then we'll talk about our topic for today, or I'll remind you of our topic for today. Koh Tao is the prequel to the Luke Richardson's Leo and Allissa's international thriller series. That's a really long line, isn't it? Leo and Maya traveling the world. It might be the trip of a lifetime, but Leo has only one thing on his mind: finding the perfect place to ask Maya to marry him. When they arrive at their trip's final destination, the Thai tropical paradise of Koh Tao, Leo thinks he's found it. But before he gets his answer, Maya's nowhere to be seen. Dramatic pause for some beer. On searching the resort, his tranquility turns to turmoil. Is it a practical joke? Has Maya run away? Or is it something much more sinister? Leo seeks help from the island's police force, but when they arrest Omar, a migrant hotel worker, and close the case, Leo suspects a cover-up. In order to learn the truth, Leo must prove Omar innocent. But with him on the next ferry to the notorious prison in Koh Samui, there's no time to waste. Set 2 years before Kathmandu, this compulsive novella turns back the clock on an anxiety-ridden man battling powerful forces in a foreign land. And you can get it for free as a gift from me to you. Thank you very much for tuning in and all those sorts of things, supporting me in all the things that you do. So there you are. There's the link in order to do that. All right, here's what I'm talking about today, and then I'm going to share you a couple of chapters, or one chapter from my book, New York, my upcoming book. Would you like me to invite other authors into this chat with me? I've got a few comments in the comments section already to read through shortly, which I will do. What do you think? The good thing with it being me, just me, is, oh, what do you think? Is there any good things with it being just me? I suppose if it's just me, it's a bit, you know, I talk for 25 minutes, half an hour, something like that, and that's it, isn't it? I'm not rambling on for ages. Whereas if someone else was here as well, we'd probably get a bit of banter going, you know, a bit of chat. I might have a second lactlesis, which is a beer, not some strange tropical disease. And, you know, we'd talk for a while. It might take a little, yeah. What do you think? I'm interested in your opinions, because ultimately these things I do to keep in touch with you. You know, you're the person that I'm putting, you're the most important person here. Do you know what I mean? So I'm doing this for you. So I want to know your opinion. What do you think? Put it in the comments box beneath the video on whatever platform you're watching this. Even if you're watching it afterwards, because it still notifies me after the event if you've commented. So if you're watching this in a couple of days' time in the future, wow, then you can tell me what you think then, and I will have a look through and I will make a decision. Or maybe I'll invite them for some, maybe I'll invite them for others. You know, yeah, we'll have a think, right? Yeah, let me know. Right, I'm going to go through the comments in a couple of minutes' time. I'm going to share with you my chapter from New York first. Then we'll talk about that question there. So be putting those in the comments for me now if you've got an opinion on that, if you think. I'm going to put this on the screen whilst I'm talking about it. If you haven't already and are interested too, that's the pre-order link. That's how you get a copy of this on the day of its release. Unfortunately, as ever, paperbacks aren't available via pre-order at the moment. I'm thinking in future releases to do something, be really organized, like buy a box full of books. Do you know what I mean? Of the paperback books in advance and have them shipped out to you on the day. I might do that. And that'll probably be a discussion for another one of these Facebook Lives, actually, if that's something you're interested in actually, me doing. Because I do always feel that the people that like the paperbacks and support me by buying them, they don't get the advantage of being able to order it and forget about it until it then arrives on their device on that morning ready to read, you know. So maybe I could do one where it just arrives, it just sends. It's a bit, yeah, I think they should do that. That is a system that we should be allowed to do. But anyway, we'll get around that nearer the time. So I'm going to read you a chapter from New York. I love this chapter. I think it's so cool. We meet a new character in this chapter called Nikki Zadid. And I absolutely love writing characters like Nikki, because they're sort of secondary to Leo and Allissa and the antagonist and the main characters, really. They're like the second supporting character. You know, like Tao in Kathmandu. If you've read Kathmandu, you'll know who Tao is. He's such a great character because he's so important to the plot, but yet he doesn't sort of have a leading role. He's like a secondary sort of character. Nikki's one of those, but I just thought she was fantastic. A little bit of swearing in this chapter though. So if you're with children, it's a good chance for them to learn some swear words. So make sure they're paying attention. Okay. Across the wide radiance of the Hudson River, the towers of Manhattan stretched into the hazy afternoon sky. The urgency of the city faded on this side of the river. It was as though the city's chaos couldn't make it through the tunnel. "This is it," Leo said to the taxi driver as they stopped outside a large modern apartment building on Wellington Avenue. "That's the one," the driver pointed at the building's grand entrance. Leo paid the taxi with his credit card. He winced at the price. They wouldn't usually take a taxi that distance, but time was short today. Allissa thanked the driver, got out, and stared up at the building. "Cool place," Allissa said. "Wait till you see the view," Leo replied, pointing towards Manhattan. Emma sent a picture of it when they first arrived. Andy's brother was waiting for them as the lift doors opened. "We came as soon as we heard," Michael said. "Left the kids with the parents in Orlando. Just want to be here for Em." Leo had only met Michael once at Emma and Andy's wedding. Michael was clearly Andy's brother. They looked alike, except Michael cut his sandy hair in a messy style and wore thick-framed glasses. "Good to see you again," Michael said, shaking Leo's hand. "Shame it's in these circumstances." Leo introduced Allissa, and Michael led them into the apartment. "Thank you for coming so quickly," Michael said. "The police are looking too, but I know you guys are something of experts at this. I've been following your cases. Impressive stuff." Leo and Allissa followed Michael through a brightly lit hallway and into the apartment's open-plan living space. Emma was talking with a slim, dark-haired woman. Emma looked at Leo and smiled weakly. "We came as quickly as we could," Leo said, hugging Emma. "Thank you. I just didn't know what to do." This is Nadia, my wife," Michael said. Allissa took in the view and nodded. It was a really cool apartment. She turned away from the window and sat on a large red leather sofa. The place was slightly reminiscent of the apartment from which they'd rescued a girl in Hong Kong. This one was more colourful though, with patterned cushions and Warhol's Marilyn Monroe on the wall. "Is there anything we can do to help?" Michael said, carrying a tray of coffee from the kitchen. "We just need to know as much as possible," Allissa said. "That will give us the best chance of finding Andy." Leo sat with Emma. She looked at her hands. Andy ran through what they knew already. "That's it exactly," Emma said. "I just got back in the morning and he wasn't here. I didn't notice anything until the police turned up." "What did he take with him?" Allissa asked. Nadia straightened up uncomfortably. "Nothing, really. His suitcase was here, and he took some of Michael's clothes. That's it." "Is his passport here?" Leo asked. Emma nodded. Nadia squirmed. "Wallet, credit cards, money? No, all here." "He can't have gone that far then," Leo said. "He wouldn't be able to—" "You've got to tell them," Nadia said. She spoke in the clipped tones of a native New Yorker, which is an accent I'm not attempting to reproduce, all right? Michael looked at her. If he was annoyed by the interjection, he didn't show it. "Tell us what?" Allissa asked. "Okay," Michael said, putting a hand on his wife's forearm. "I didn't tell the police this because I didn't want Andy to get into any more trouble. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. He took a watch and some cash." "How much?" $2,000, Natalie interjected. Leo's eyebrows raised. "Yes," Michael nodded. "And the watch is a Rolex. It's worth, we think, you can never be sure, around 8, and there was 2,000 in cash." "Okay, thank you for telling us that," Allissa said. "That changes the sort of places we'll look." "He took your car as well?" Leo asked. "Yes," Michael said. "That was found at around 2 a.m. in the Lincoln Tunnel. It had been smashed up rather badly. The police say they were surprised anyone could have walked away." Allissa nodded and made a note on her phone. "We're not worried about the car, the watch, or the money," Michael said. "We just want to know that Andy's okay." Nadia crossed her arms and turned away from her husband. She appeared to be more bothered about it than Michael, Leo thought. Emma whimpered from the sofa beside Leo. Is there anything we can do to help?" Michael said, as Leo and Allissa stood to leave. Leo looked at Emma. He wanted to stay and be with her, but Andy wouldn't get found that way. We'll look after her, don't worry," Nadia said, seeing Leo's turmoil. "You go and look for that guy. We all want to have a word with him." "Do you need somewhere to stay or something?" Michael asked. No, we booked a place yesterday. Thanks," Leo said. "Have you got a—" "Yes, we've got everything we need to get started," Allissa said, heading for the door. "Okay," Michael said. "Oh, if you need a bit of local help. A friend of ours used someone, didn't they?" Andy looked at Nadia. "What were they called?" "Nikki Zadid," Nadia said. "Yes, that was it. I can look up the contact details if you want them." "Got it," Allissa said, typing into her phone. "That could be really useful, actually. Having a person who knows the area is always helpful." "I can imagine," Michael said. "And I'm paying the bill for it. No arguments on that." "Sure." Leo hugged Emma and shook Michael's hand. "We'll be in touch soon. If you think of anything that might be useful, let us know." Right, I'm going to do the next chapter as well, but I'm going to pause for a moment. Alison says, when I mentioned raising eyebrows, her eyebrows raised as well. What if I mentioned someone going for a 5K run? John would probably head off as well for another one, wouldn't he? Love it, love it. So this is the chapter in which they meet the infamous Nikki Zadid, which, as I say, is a chapter I really enjoyed writing. I was half sort of split minds whether to tell you about this chapter, because I think it's a great chapter, and I wanted to sort of keep it as a secret in a way. But I thought, actually, for the few of you that are on here and the 50 or so, however many people will watch it back, I thought actually it would be good to do. Would be good to do. You'll give you a little bonus, little insight into the story. Local knowledge counted for everything when trying to track someone down. Cases could be won or lost on what you knew about the place and its people. I'm not saying we shouldn't get help, Leo said as the metro rumbled beneath Manhattan. I just think we should think about what we can do on our own first. No, Allissa said, we can't afford to waste time. We need to get this detective on the case as soon as possible. He'll know where to look. He'll have the contacts. Remember when you were in Kathmandu? What was the first thing you did? Okay, Leo conceded. Allissa was right. The first thing he'd done on arriving in Kathmandu was contact someone who knew the city, the local customs, and could speak the language. In the end, Tao had been invaluable. Leo wouldn't have found Allissa or survived the ordeal without him. What do we know about this detective then? Leo asked as Allissa thumbed the bell of Nikki Zadid's office in the Greenwich Village. The office was on the third floor of a townhouse in a wide, quiet and tree-lined street. The area felt a long way from the famous spires of the Empire State and Chrysler buildings which pierced the sky to the north and the World Trade Center, which cast its long shadow from the south. Not a lot really, but Michael recommended him. His website lists all sorts of things: marital staff, missing people, research for legal cases, that sort of thing. An electronic taxi hissed beneath the skeletal trees behind them. Allissa stepped back and looked up at the 4-story building. To their left, people sat at the outside tables of a cafe, despite the cold. Maybe he's not in, Leo said. Might be out on a case or something. We should have got an appointment. Yeah, we're pretty much passing though. Let's try again. Leo pressed the buzzer a second time. He put his ear close to the door but couldn't hear the bell. Somewhere inside the building, music played. It was a distant thump to Leo. Leo leant against the door and put his ear to the glass. One song faded and the next began. The bass rattled through the building. He couldn't hear anything else. The door clicked and swung open. Leo tried to stand up but wasn't quick enough. He fell into the arms of a lady with long blonde hair. "Watch where you're going, will ya?" she said, not expecting to get an armful of unkempt and confused English detective as she stepped outside. Sorry, Leo said, pulling himself away and blushing. Allissa tried and failed to stifle a laugh. "Quick, the door," Allissa said as the woman marched away. Leo put his foot inside the frame to stop the door from swinging closed. "Let's go and have a look," Allissa said, pushing past him, "just to make sure Nikki Zadid isn't here." "I suppose." Leo followed Allissa into the grand hallway. A locked door never stopped as before. Just having a sip of my Latvian beer. Welcome if you just joined us. Hello, thank you. Let me know. Don't be a stranger. Pop a comment in the comments box and let me know whether how you found me, how you found this, whether you followed the link in the email I sent you, because I'm interested to know whether that was useful, whether that was helpful to anyone. Right. Leo followed Allissa up the stairs and thought of their flat's stuffy entrance hall. In Brighton, they had piles of junk mail and rusting bikes. Here, they had a sleek tiled floor and ornate furniture. The music got louder as they climbed the stairs. The deep thud of a kick drum and the bouncing bass line reminded Leo of the club he'd visited a few weeks ago in Berlin. On the third floor, the walls shook from thumping bass. A black and white framed photograph of a group of men unloading a train bounced against its fixings. Allissa stopped and turned to face Leo. A brass plaque beside the door indicated that this was the office of N. Zadid, P.I. The music was coming from inside. Leo was slightly disappointed that the name wasn't in silver letters on the glass door, like in the famous detective novels, although he still expected to find Nicky with his feet on the desk, smoking a cigar and drinking whiskey. Allissa knocked on the door. Grunting bass swamped the sound. No response. Allissa tried again, this time rapping on the door as hard as she could. Nothing happened. Then the music stopped. Leo and Allissa looked at each other. The door didn't move. Allissa knocked again. Come in! Allissa pushed open the door and stepped into the room. Wow, Allissa mouthed, looking around. Prints of modern art covered blue pastel walls. A chandelier hung from the high ceiling and sumptuous sofas gathered around a glass coffee table. Bookshelves covered the wall at one end of the room and the windows overlooked the street at the other. Maps, documents and photographs spread across the coffee table were the only indication of the occupant's profession. Can I help you? Came a woman's voice in a bold New York accent. She slid a large book from the bottom shelf and stood. Without looking at the intruders, she leafed through the book until she found the page she wanted and then tapped it thoughtfully. She was slight, small, quick, and wore a bright blue hijab, which covered her hair and flowed down her back. Her clothes, although dark and long, had a fashionable cut. She gave the impression that nothing about her was an accident. Yeah, Leo said. We're looking for Nikki Zadid. Why? The woman said. She crossed the room and laid the book on top of one of the maps on the coffee table. We're missing people's investigators, Allissa said. We've got to find someone in New York. We're looking for... Is Nikki about? Leo said. The woman flicked forwards 2 pages and then looked up at Leo. Is this guy taking the fucking piss? She said, looking at Allissa. You want to talk to Nikki, huh? She stood upright. Who do you think you're looking at? Allissa laughed out loud and Nikki's expression broke into a lopsided grin. Leo blushed. I'm so... Leave it, Sherlock, Nikki said. And listen for the future. You go into someone's office and they have fucking names on the door. Who's the person you're most likely to find in there? It's not a trick question. Allissa grinned and the left side of her mouth... Nikki grinned, sorry, and the left side of her mouth moved higher than the right. Leo blushed. Don't worry, Nikki said, when Leo tried to apologize again. To be honest, that's why I'm good at my job. No one expects this. She tugged on the hijab. Coffee? I'm going to leave that there. It's not the end of the chapter, but I feel like it's a good place and we don't get to know the character too well. There we go. New York. There's the link. Get a copy should you want to. If you don't, that's fine too. But thank you for watching and taking an interest in those, in me reading those couple of chapters. All right. Gonna have a swig of my lac plesis. And then we'll talk about this question. Where is it? Oh, yes. So I'm going to do these live broadcasts every so often. I'm not going to say every week, to be fair, because I don't want to. The most important thing to me is writing books. That is number one, you know, in terms of my work, is writing books. And if, you know, and sometimes I need the space to not do things like this and just write books, and that's fine. You know what I mean? So sometimes I might be like, actually, I'm working really hard on this part or this part, and I just need a break for a couple of hours, and I might not be able to do one. So I'm not going to commit to doing it every week, but I will do them as often as I'm able. Do you think, with that in mind, it would be nice to invite other authors into this chat with me? I did say that it would be a bit quicker if it was just me, but I have now talked for 41 minutes, which is a really long time. Gosh, it's ages. You guys are really persistent. You're really committed, aren't you? I love it. Thank you. What do you think? Let's have a look through some of the comments. I'm going to scroll right to the top and then come down through my comments. If you're listening silently, that's fine. You don't have to reveal yourself. You can be a silent listener. If you've got an opinion, put that in the comments and I will get there. If you're listening in the future, if you're not watching live, that is absolutely fine too. Put a comment in there. It notifies me to have a read through as and when I get around to it. All right, Alison, how's your glass of wine going down? Have you poured a second one yet? More importantly, and John, how's the coffee going? All right, Alison says, by the by, can't wait for drinks with Dempsey on Friday night. Yes, I am having a chat with Ernest Dempsey, who's an author, on his stream on Friday night, on his Facebook Live, YouTube Live. So if you want to see that, I will If you go to his page, if you just put Ernest Dempsey in Facebook and like his page, you'll see it. It will notify you that he's talking with me. So Ian Bond says it could be more of a podcast. Yes, it could. I'm very cautious of this, Ian, because I know it could become a podcast, but I know how much time those things take. You know, you start doing it, you do a few episodes, you enjoy it. Before you know, you're spending 2 days a week marketing and editing and putting music together and doing a mailing list and advertising it and all these sorts of things. And that's really not what I'm interested in doing. I want it to be me, maybe someone else, another author, and you guys, like the hardcore people that read my books and like my writing or are just interested in my career in general. Because I know some people who are on my mailing list and some people, you know, who are interested in this don't necessarily read all my books, but they're interested in me and what I do, and that's fine. That's okay, you know. So yeah, it could be an informal podcast. I think the idea of a podcast is that it happens frequently, isn't it? Alison says that's a great idea. I believe Steve is interested. I reckon we could probably persuade Steve Moore to come on once, maybe twice. Yeah, I think he probably would make an appearance at some point. What do you reckon, Steve? Are you still watching? Pop your opinions in the chat. If so, maybe we'll schedule a date. It seems to be a positive opinion through the thread here. John says it would be interesting to have other authors chatting. I'm always looking for new reads. Yes, I agree with you. That's the thing, isn't it? Because if I recommend someone, I suppose, you know, you'd think, oh, I'll go and check their books out or whatever. So you know, it might lead to you reading another book of theirs. John says, I'm just saying this one again because it's a great comment. Sounds like a winner. Can't wait to get hold of it. Thanks, mate. Massively appreciate that. Okay. Luke Richardson Meets podcast. I like that. That's quite cool. I like it, mate. That could work, couldn't it? Yeah. I was thinking my other thought was beers and books, because I like to have a Lac Plesis. I should get these as a sponsor, shouldn't I? Lac Plesis. Maybe they'll send me a crate. Yeah, I might. That's a good idea. Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining me. And hi, Perry. And Steve has said Steve is cheap. Okay. Yeah. I don't know where to go with that, mate. But thank you for your comment. That's that's really cool. That's really cool. Oh, Steve says, heads up. I'm currently editing New York for Luke, and it's going to be another belter. Steve is my first reader and editor, and he's the brutalist person ever in terms of editing, and it's great. Just kicking it into shape, which is exactly what it needs, exactly what every book needs, you know, when it's a first draft. Right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in and seeing me waffle on for nearly an hour. That's amazing. I really do appreciate this more than you can know, to be able to share these things with you. I'm just going to recap a couple of things. If any more comments pop up in that time, I'll circle back to them. Koh Tao is now free. That's the novella, the prequel novella to my series. It's free at the moment. There's the link you need to get it. I'm really pleased with it. It's about Leo and Maya back in Koh Tao, where Maya goes missing just as Leo has proposed. Nerve-wracking time. Funnily enough, I wrote that scene prior to proposing to my own fiance, and now having done that, I don't know whether I'd make it any different, whether the tension of being in that situation myself. She hasn't commented in the chat. Sometimes she does, but she's not here today. I think she's still at work, isn't it? Maybe now, knowing the tension of that, I might have written it slightly differently. I'm not sure. We will see. Right, that's where you get that. New York is the other one. That's available for pre-order now. Thank you so much if you've done that already. Right. Thank you so much. I'm just looking through some of these comments. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, John. Thank you, Steve. You're not brutalist, I suppose. You're not brutalist in the terms of the way that architecture is. No. All right. Thanks so much. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great to catch up with you all. I will speak to you again very, very soon. Have an amazing rest of your week. And oh, if you're around on Friday, come and catch me with Dempsey at 10:30 UK time. Be half midnight for me here in Latvia. So that'll be good. I'll have had a couple of lap plesis by that time, no doubt. Have a great one. Bye.